So, class lists. This year's class list will be emailed to you this coming Thursday. The list will be included in our Thursday highlights communication. So, when you receive highlights, you will see every class, 3K through 8th grade. It'll be by grade level. Just click on your child's grade level, and that list will open, and you'll get to see who their teacher is and who is in their class. Typically, we print those and then post them up at Smiles and Files Day. We hope this is more efficient, and you can look at it with your child as well. Now, one thing I want to address that I address actually every single year is people and parents that request that their child's classroom be changed. Once they find out who their child is with, whether it be teacher or different peers, oftentimes I get asked for that placement to be changed. I want to explain a few things to you about the process. So it is not something that is just a quick, let's sort these kids out and put them in different classes. There's a lot of thought and time that goes into developing those lists. It's an effort that starts in the spring of the prior year. So this year's lists, the rough drafts of those lists were put together in April and May, and then we look at them throughout the summer. It's a process that involves myself, Mrs. Schulz, your child's classroom teacher from this past year. And then sometimes we do go back a couple of years as well to talk to teachers, maybe a few years back. The factors are many that we look at to make the lists up. Some things are gender, so boys and girls, we want to have that balance. We look at academics, we look at the amount of support children might be receiving, personalities, we look at social issues of the students in that class. We look at the classroom management style of the teacher. Some students might need one style of a teacher over the other. We look at the needs of the child, socialization, as well as that academic, like I mentioned before. So all of those are weighed. There's a lot of discussion about what's the best fit for each child in the classroom. So know that when you're making that request to switch your kid out, it doesn't just affect your child. It really creates kind of a domino effect of what happens with other children. If you are wanting to make a change for your child, I suggest kind of a couple things. So the first thing is, I always tell the parents to contact the teacher. So let your teacher know, your child's teacher know, that you have some trepidation with the placement. Be open and honest, be very specific about what your concern is. Understand, though, that in elementary school, we're preparing children to be able to adapt to multiple personalities. So sometimes parents will say, like, I don't think my child's going to do well with that teacher because of their personality. Know that part of that K-5 through 5th grade experience is really teaching them gradually over the years to be able to adapt to that, because we know in middle school and high school, there is no choice. So middle school, we have a math teacher and just one, and you can't ask for a different math teacher. That's who we have. And children are going to have to learn that how I'm going to learn from this math teacher or science teacher or whatever it may be. There's multiple personalities, and we're teaching them to figure that out. We're also teaching them to work with a variety of different children. So again, this is a gradual process, but we want them to be able to be equipped to handle a child that they maybe don't get along with, or someone's personality that might frustrate them. We're teaching that along the way. So I've seen this multiple times where we have two students who had a bad year together. Let's say it's 1st grade and they just didn't get along that year and they were in the same class. As a staff, we sit down and talk about, okay, is next year the year to give them a break from one another? Or do we think it's the year to keep them together? And then we can work with them on the issue at hand and teach them how to work through that. So those are conversations that happen as well. I suggest that you share all of that with the teacher, establish a communication plan. So once you share your concern, say to the teacher, okay, in 2 weeks, let's reconnect so we can kind of see how things are going. Anytime there is a concern, we want to put a plan in place, be mindful, put some strategies together, and then revisit it to see how it's going and if any other changes need to be made place. need to take place, excuse me. Before I end, understand that we all have the same goal. We want your child to become their best possible self. We want well-rounded children socially, academically, and we want them to be able to handle those sort of life skills that we know they need in order to become their best possible self when they graduate from Lumen Christi and make their way onto high school.